Hey, welcome to my channel.
Hey, Uncle Kenny! Football! Hey, yeah!
If you're new here, my name is Cedric Gegel. I'm an actor, a filmmaker, a screenwriter, a YouTube reactor, and I've been on a bit of a break from YouTube over the past few weeks. I moved. I went from Philadelphia to Rhode Island, and have been busy filming some things and hitting some writing deadlines. So I'm back, and I'm excited because it has been, I think the last Dimash thing I watched was Love of Tired Swans, or Love Like Tired Swans. Whatever it was spectacular. It always is with him. But I'm excited to be back because this has been requested a lot of times, and I kept kind of forgetting to do it, to be honest, and I'm sorry about that. But I understand that Dimash directed this, and so that's really, really exciting. To see artists start to step out and direct, especially singers directing their own work, is always fascinating to me because you see how a lot of the influence of the directors that they've worked with previously starts to influence it, as well as their own tastes and their own sense of musicality. And that's something that's really important. Musicians see the world differently than other people do. Just like I, as a filmmaker and as an actor, I see the world differently. And so musicians can make some really fascinating visual choices on how they want to portray things. Often it'll appear more musically. Often they'll use either much more staccato shots or longer shots that have more flow to it. And then they really understand how to build to a visual crescendo and everything like that. So I am fascinated to see this, especially such a long video. It's over 7 minutes. So to see what he did and how he used his talents and gifts and his views of the way that the world interacts with itself, I am very excited to see this and see how he's stretching himself and pushing himself creatively. I'm a huge fan of his, as you all know, and I am really, really excited to check this out. So thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for staying with me. And thank you, of course, to my patrons on Patreon for supporting me as I go through this journey. I'm going to have other content that's coming, not just reactions, but some other, just some original stuff. So please, I can speak. Please feel free to check that out if you're so inclined. But for now, let's jump right in and let's see what this music has to offer.
Ұлы дала, төрт құбылаң тең түскен жерің найдам. Алтай мен Атырау, Жайық пен Іле, Алатау мен Сарыарқа, дәуірімнің дәурені болған жерімнің кеңдігін айтам. Алқалы көшті бастаған түркі дүниесінің бесігі, ұлы даланы айтам.
Getting some big Zack Snyder vibes so far.
Талас пен тартыстың аламан бәйгесінде шабандап қалмаған ұрпағың бар. Құбылған дүниенің құйтырғы қалама тоздыра алмаған мінезім мәрт, көңілі жомарт, дархан есі бар. Ұлы даланың бөгделер біле бермейтін, өзгелер де сезе бермейтін киесі бар.
I'm going to look up what that said because I have the captions on, but they weren't translating that. So I'm just going to look up what that meant. Before I do that, before I look it up, I have a feeling that it was explaining some sort of creation myth, or this is, it's setting up the world, but something about war, famine, and that one hero would rise above the rest. That's my guess based on what I saw and the way that the actor was pronouncing everything.
5 minutes later.
Well, I actually couldn't find anything. So if you have any links or anything to what that was, please let me know. But visually, I actually think almost all of that, if not all of it, was real. It looked very real and just well shot. I don't know who this other director is. Probably someone with a lot of experience with cameras. Nothing against Dimash, just it's good to have that artistic balance between like the technical and also the artistic. But just what a beautiful opening. Everything's shot kind of flat and arid and dry, and there's a sense of the solitary and of loneliness but peace. I just think that was really, really cool, the way the way that it was shot. So what a great opening. I'm only a minute and 19 seconds in.
есі var.
Nice. Beautiful cinematography. There's a sense of the sacred to this, isn't there? That droning underneath with the bass and this beautiful stringed instrument coming over top.
Elimde suyup götürdüm büyük alakanımda ıspanğa sığınak tesbih eline bol ömürden meneni sandar şındaydı şındarsın payda vakitim bular berini.
So something we look for in cinematography is triangles, and if you look at that shot of him, everything led the eye toward him. It was drawing the eye in. Everything has been kind of scaled back from a color standpoint, a little bit washed out, kind of grayscaled to an extent, which is a super intentional point on that they're trying to make visually. It feels older. It feels timeless in a sense, right? This could have happened. They could have filmed this yesterday. They could have filmed this 2,000 years ago. So it's a really cool artistic choice, and it doesn't detract from the beauty of where they're filming. It might even enhance it because everything is just sort of this wonderful muted palette. I mentioned Zack Snyder earlier. It's very Snyder-esque in the way that it's filmed. With a lot of tight focus shots, especially on that stringed instrument lower angle. There's a heavy sense of the sacred in the way that this is shot so far. I'm not super sure what it's necessarily about, but I definitely think that there's some sort of spiritual aspect to the video so far. I'm sure we'll get there. Only time will heal everything. I think we're getting somewhere with this. I think it seems like a love song to his homeland, maybe. To a country or place that he loves.
Umut olsun kaygımın şarkırasın ay günüm şattansın eri kuvansın sebi dilimin elim sağlığı.
There's something about contrasting these snow-covered peaks immediately with the deserts that's really, really powerful. There's a scale and a magnificence and a dichotomy to what we're being presented with. Having the piano on top of a hill all by itself. Having this desert and the lake that he's singing in and the reeds around him with a sand dune behind him. There's this sense that lines are blurred and that everything becomes one, and he's talking about this holy land and that children's laughter can be heard, and there's this sense that time is impermanent and that there is no such thing as a singular space within the video, which it's so beautifully shot. It's entrancing to watch. I mean, it's hard to look away. It's so beautiful. It's beautiful.
Aman bol elim, hasırlarday мәңгі соқсын senin жүрегің, жалғыз солғана тілерім. Қайран менің туған жерім, aman bol elim, hasırlarday мәңгі соқсын senin жүрегің, жалғыз солғана
You know, vocally, I don't think he's doing anything crazy acrobatic, but again, and I say this with him, you never know what to expect, and I think he's just serving this song so well in his performance. This, I don't know what the lyrics are, but I think it's QAIRAN ELIM, right? QAIRAN ELIM, something like that. It's a really beautiful progression. Da, 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 da. And there's a really nice rise and fall to it that he's adding that is, it's almost like not even just a love, but an in love. There's a tenderness to his approach vocally. Da, 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 da. Like, it's the most important thing that he could be saying right then, and he means it with every fiber of his being. It's starting with that texture. Da, 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 da. It's all connected. It all flows really beautifully. And I don't think that it's on accident that they're showing a lot of waterways where everything does flow and everything is connected, and water being such an important aspect of life, that this land versus water, is sacred to him and is holy to him. I really like this. There's nothing too crazy that they're doing visually either, but it is just so perfect for what they're trying to say and for what they feel like they need to say. It's so on point with that how can you not just love what you're watching?
Жалғыз солғана тілерім.
And then that's going to take over the melody. Beautiful. So that's why it's been washed out. I want to take it back to when they kind of burst into it, so the blood's just dropped. So there's an intentionality to having it so washed out to where we get so used to this still gorgeous, largely colorless landscape, and then the blood drops and the fire comes in, and we're seeing that passion and life is what gives this space meaning, is my interpretation of this. Passion, fire, blood, life. That's what gives this space this holiness, this sense of the sacred. Of course, Dimash is not actually on fire, but there's a visual metaphor that's happening there that what they're achieving. I actually think that the piano that he's playing, this gentleman is playing so wonderfully might actually be on fire when they're filming. It does not look like CGI fire to me. I could be totally wrong, but you can even kind of see him leaning back from it a little. And that commitment to authenticity is really cool, and I'm sure they did it very, very safely. But just this visual metaphor is chilling. It's wonderful. See, that looks real to me. Now the rains come. Oh, what a beautiful resolving chord as we're seeing all this green in life. So I take that as they gave themselves up. They sacrificed themselves and brought life back. That this was a prayer, sort of, yeah? That worked. And this idea of their art and this, I assume then it was a prayer that they were begging for life to return, for water to be brought. And we're seeing them go to these spaces of water where water meets the earth and ask this and be willing to burst into flame. And maybe I'm totally misinterpreting this, but that was beautiful. And this refrain that they're singing over and over of the QAIRAN Elim, just... It reminds me of the hymns in church that I grew up hearing and that I still hold such a connection to. There was a sense that each word really, really meant something beyond the pale, if you will, beyond what is temporal and physical. And that's what's so special about Dimash, is that the songs aren't just songs to him. They mean something and they matter, and there's something really beautiful coming out of it. So I super loved this a lot. Thank you for your patience as I got around to it. He is, when you think of the word artist, he is at the highest level of that. And you have to enjoy it when you see it. So thank you so much. I will see you all again soon, I'm sure. And I just like him. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to say that at the end of every video that I see that he does. But it's always going to be true. If I say it, it's true. And my admiration for him somehow, even though it seems impossible, continues to grow. He's terrific. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for enjoying. Thank you for recommending. Thank you for having patience. Drink lots of water. Take care of your posture. Take care of yourselves. And I'll see you next time.